What is up, regenerators? Mo with I Grow Soil. I don't need that. I'm in the house. Take a look at what we have here. We just got a massive amount of nematodes. This is a compost that I've been working on and tweaking and working on and feeding. And we're finally at this point. This is like got nematodes. I need a sticker now that says got nematodes question mark. You can see also there's a lot of protozoa that's zipping around now. This was not like this last night. This sample has been sitting in this jar right here overnight, and all of these protozoa woke up. I was looking at this last night with a couple of the regenerates quorum, and I was saying I think this is gonna pop off. Now I'm at a pH of around 8 right now, 7.8, 7.7 roughly, and that's with a tape. I didn't use my meter. But look at the level of nematodes here. This looks so. It's also extremely like fulvic. You see the gold haze on it. That's fulvic acid. It is. It is this beautiful light brown color. Can you see that? Yeah. Wild. I dig it. And again, something I've been working on for a little bit, and I'm happy to report that we've got action. So we're at 100 time magnification. Before I go any deeper, I'm going to use this oblique technique again, learned from Eagle, one of the regenerates, and it gives it this pretty cool, like cryo freeze, I call it, kind of like that Han Solo being captured in, yeah, I know, straight nerd out. But take a look at how it pulls it off the glass. It gives it this like 3D look. Pretty impressive. Definitely cycling nutrients. This is I would say about a 2 month old. It's about 2 months in on the process, and when I'm done with it, I will post and show how I do this. I mean, I got to replicate this, and I'm in the early stages of testing this compost out. But man, you can't. I mean, it is action packed, and what made me even pull the sample this early was I noticed 4 days ago it looks completely different than it does now. It's now in 4 days it's turned into what looks like the color of soil. It's not done. Obviously not done. These nematodes are here to work. They're getting the job done right now. They will. My observation in all this is that these nematodes and a lot of these higher trophic microbes end up going away when the work is done. It's like a job site. I explain it as a job site because I have a construction background. When you're building something as a GC, you've got all trades, everyone on deck, and it is a lively environment. And as everyone's bing bang, just screwing and doing their thing, everyone's at work. So this is how I look at it. And they were all active last night. You see, I've got some what look like dead zones, but they're not, because even when I first put this on, all of them were just kind of dormant, just sitting and laying around. They're starting to wake up. Others more so, see, like here. But if I go to this side of the slide, for whatever reason, I got more activity on this side of the slide. I wish there was a way to even test pHs on the specific sides of the slide. Is it warmer? I know they were around 95 degrees when I pulled them. So they're sitting now in my ambient temperature of 74 degrees. Maybe they get a little lazier. Who knows? But all the same, I'll do one more thing, is I'm going to put this polarization on them because it also looks outstanding. It looks amazing. Let's see if we can catch it. A good. So you can see these nematodes actually, all the minerals inside of them are going. And I know this, believe me when I tell you there's minerals more so than usual, because this is what we do around here. But look at that. I mean, these nematodes are shining, and they've got everything inside of them that will ultimately end up available for our plants. Look at all the mineral inside. So this polarization, this polarized film are exposing through, refraction of lighting, and I can't even get into it. I just know that light's bouncing off these minerals, and every different color is a different mineral because they all reflect different, refract differently, different red, greens, blues. Look at here. What is that? So I'll take these off real quick, and then let's get a little bit closer. I'm at 100 time magnification here. But again, look at this, dude. It's just, this is not my Nemo bomb. My Nemo bomb, this actually competes with it. I will say that, except that with my Nemo bomb, the nematodes are performing something called endotokia matricida, where they go into this, I don't want to call it a panic, but the reproduction completely changes. And I still need to whip a video together on that. So let's go to 200 magnification. And this is happening why? This is happening because it's a ton of nutrients that need to be processed. When your compost, and I'm speaking on my observation and my work. When in your early stages of compost, go pull it and look at it. I encourage you to do it if you have a microscope. You're going to find a lot more activity because, again, going back to the job site analogy, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. As you start to wind down and your carpentry's done, your electricians are leaving, and your trades are just punch listing, things slow down. You don't have as many workers signaling going on. They get it. They understand the job. They understand what needs to happen. There's a naked amoeba there. These are encysted microbes here, which last night I was looking at them and saying these things are going to start moving soon. I wasn't sure what was going to trigger them. The moisture triggers them, right? So now I know that more moisture is potentially going to ramp up the biology in this pile. And I'm going to go check that now, right? I'll go pull another dry sample, make sure it was the same as last night, and then give it a little more moisture. And then from there, I'll understand, okay, I gave it maybe 10% more moisture. And at 10% more moisture, what happened? Who woke up? Because now we've got even more cycling going on. Now we've got all these protozoa that were not there last night going for it. And if I take you to 40x, 40 time magnification, look at this. Who needs a who needs a who needs a T? How about extracting this? Right? I can extract this and then put it into a system which is also going to deliver with nutrients. I mean, right? Because it's not fully broken down yet. And I'm just thinking out loud. At this point in this compost and this package that I have, that I know for a fact is loaded with nutrients, that I know for a fact is loaded with chemistry, minerals. Look at the yellow tone to this. It is fulvic acid. So things are being made available, right? There's these minerals are also available now. They're in soluble form, a lot of them. And even though I'm at a pH of like 7.7, because at one point here I wasn't. And again, just freestyling this, but look how many nematodes, dude. That's what I'm talking about. Got nematodes. That's what I'm going to label this. So let's follow through on this. And then here's another observation I'm making. Everything here, right, looks like a ghost town. Last night, all of this was active. All nematodes were moving. This here, that's going to be, oh, sorry, I'm losing my finger on the screen. This is going to be algae, because everybody who knows what I do know I rock with algae all day long at every different level. That is, well, maybe I'm a little too far out. It looks like algae. Let me get a little closer just to verify that. Yeah. Here, I should get the glow. It should be glowing red. Still not. Wow. Probably dying off. Anyway, that is algae, though. Some type of algae grass, algae. Here you go. That might even be my Zola. Look at this piece of organic matter. Let's see what's on here. More nutrient, man. I'm telling you. More stuff shining. So let me get back to what I was saying, though, because this is at 40-time magnification. What's happening here? Everything looks dead here. But then when I come up here, right, everything's moving here. What is it about this part of the slide? Is there more nutrient here? Because when I first put this on, none of the nematodes, hardly any of the nematodes were moving. So as it's been sitting on my microscope and as I've been observing this, they are now way more active. I even have a video that I recorded saying, wow, they're all dead. And then I stopped it, had a reset, and then by the time I reset, here we are. So everything's active and alive, running at the edge of the glass. And when you put your slide cover on top of the glass, all the water gets pushed, and a lot of things get pushed to the edges. So it could be that on these edges we have a lot of nutrition, things that end up moving. Look over here, nothing. Over here around these bubbles, activity. Nothing here though. As we get closer to this slide, we get closer to the edge, we get more action. Just an observation, right? These are things that I'm looking for. These are things that I'm looking at. And then I want to know why. And so now I got to figure out how I can figure that out. What do I do? How do I manipulate the slide? We're just vibing, dude. I'm just thinking out loud right now because I need to go back out there and look at some other things before I go. But here, we get to the lower end of this slide, or the opposite end of the slide, and look. Ghost Town. What is up with that? You see that? That looks different. Let me go in. Let me get closer to that. Is this the one? I'm at 100 magnification right now. Well, you can see I'm at 200 now. I actually was thrown off by the inside. You see the internal organelles or whatever they are. I can actually see that at 40 here. You guys, you see what I'm looking at? It looks almost deformed, but it's not. So opposite end of the slide, a lot of these things are and I'm convinced that they're not dead because this whole slide looked like it was dead at first. So I would be tempted to drop a nutrients on this slide. I mean, I won't do that today. This here is something pretty big because I was at 40. That's an egg of some sort, I would guess. That is an egg. And that's a big egg because I'm at 100 now. Let's go to 200. Oh, yeah. Dig it. Let's give it the epi and see what happens. There's something in there. Is it moving? Nah, it's not. And don't be mistaken. It's not. It's not moving. Things are moving it. It's moving, but it's because things are moving it. That is big. I'm at 200 magnification. Let's go to 400. We're all up in it now. What we got? Trip. I love microscopy. I love soil. I love it. So, back to what I was saying. Now let's go to the opposite side of the slide. Things start to wake up. Whoa. Well, we're still. Let's get up here, and then notice that they're all up here. All of these protozoa are up here, which is an indication of maybe there's more oxygen in here because they are going to switch over to their facultative microbes, meaning they can perform under suboxic anoxic conditions. But look at here, everything's just jumping off. I've got a million questions, and for every question, it's a deep dive of research. I don't have enough hours in a day. But I hope that you guys are encouraged to go put your samples on your microscope, follow the progression of your compost, understand what's happening in it. Therefore, you can make adjustments, feed it differently, and then ultimately, to amend the earth. So this is for real. They say there's like 80, I think it's 80 billion nematodes per person on this planet. I feel like I got half of mine with me straight up because this is just 3 or 4 drops out of that. I got my 80 billion here. But anyway, I'm already running this video a little too long, and I'm gonna follow. If I'm gonna keep looking at this thing, and I'm gonna try to reproduce it, which I don't see why I wouldn't be able to, but we will find out. And here's where I wish I took notes on this particular pod. I didn't take notes on my inputs here. I have a very strong idea, but we'll see. So I'm Mo with I Grow Soil. Grow your soil. Dive into your compost. I'm out.